Hi guys, so for today, I just want to figure out how we can try to shoot a bullet in our from our player's direction going to the enemy. So let me just go and create. Let's just have so let's have to go create a new scene that will just be naming. Let's have a character body 2D. Then of course we'll need to have a collision body to that. So let's have a collision shape 2D. Let's add a circle. Let's just drag or let's create another child node that will serve as a sprite. Okay. And inside of that sprite, we would want to have a firing. So let's go and first we can try to resize this. So how do we resize this quick? Okay, so that's just for testing purposes. And let's have that like a square that has a circle. So now let's go back to our player. Let's just save this. Bullet. I think we can just perhaps you can rename this to Shuriken. Just call it Shuriken. What could we use with the player? Okay. Just call this Shuriken. Let's save that. And I'm just going to put that in our scenes. Then let's go to our script on our player. Uh, Outside of any of the functions, we want to have a constant value shuriken path, and we're going to look for a preload method that we can use for looking for that scene, and you can see that there's that shuriken ESCN. Now let's create a function that we can try to use for. So functions are like code blocks that will contain that you can try to reuse most of the time. The reason why we have functions is that so this is the built-in name for functions, and we have an identifier. And this in this case, we can just say shuriken shoot or shuriken fire. Okay, so this is a custom identifier that we have just created, and this can be any name that you may be able to think of. And functions can have identifiers that we can call all around our code. As we can see here, we have some functions that are built in, and there are some functions that we can try to customize and create on our own. Now let's try to create a variable that we will call shuriken. And we're going to assign that shuriken path. And we would want to access an instance of that shuriken, which is currently here. That means in our level one, so the shuriken is currently here, right? This one, the one with the yellow color. And from here, let's go to the level one, and we have that player character body 2D, right? So we know that the player has a character body 2D. Shuriken uses the character body 2D. And in here, we would want to have that shuriken as a child of the player. So let's go back to our script. And in here, we would want to have a built-in. You'll see it's a built-in. We can find here parent, and from there we can access another built-in method, add child, and we want to pass in this unique or customized variable name that we have used for us to assign the value of the instance of this shuriken that we've just created in our scene or in another scene. Now, the next thing that I would want to try to add here would be marker 2D. And that marker 2D, we want to position that and move that a little bit forward. So that's a marker 2D. If you're using older versions of Godot, this might be position 2D. So the idea here is that we're going to use this node, the marker 2D node, so that we won't be hitting the player as we try to spawn the marker 2D node that we have here. Now let's go back to our script and let's try to go do something here. So from here, can we, okay, so there is that marker 2D. And if you try to select that, we have the marker 2D dot position property that we can try to access. And let's try to go and this means we have a position for the marker 2D, but instead of using the position, we want it to be, but let's first try to see what will happen if we have that set up there. So let's use the shuriken dot position is assigned the value of marker 2D position. So if you try to read through the documentation, you would know that this position is going to be related to this player. And if I'm not making a mistake, the idea of this position property is going to be related. This if this is position, it's going to be for the player as its parent. The parent will be the player. But if we use the global position property, this will be related to the parent node of the player. And that will be the main scene that we have here. As you can see, if I try to minimize the main scene, it's hiding all of the other nodes. It's the parent of all of those nodes. Now, let's just try to go and test out inside of our physics process data. I think we need to have a function process data. Let's try to test that out first. Function delta. Then let's have an if statement inside of this. And let's say input dot is action just pressed. And let's look at that do I accept option. And this is where we would want to go and see. In here, I would want to have a print shooting shuriken. Just for testing purposes. And let's run this shuriken fire function inside of it. Input is action just press. And we're expecting a column. Okay, so that's working. Hopefully. Okay, everyone. So I've been I just paused the video for a while because I encountered this issue from where if you're using Godot older version, you would use the instance method for you to be able to access and create an instance of the shuriken that we have here. And I learned from one forum. Let me just show you the error first. So We play that. If I go and press on the space bar, you would see non-existent function instance in base pack scene. So that means this is no longer the one that you can use to instantiate a copy of the scene that we've just created, which is the shuriken scene. And now, instead of using instance, we can use instantiate. So now I've also added this delta here because I was encountering this issue. The parameter delta is never used in the function physics process. If this is intended, prefix it with an underscore delta. But I think it's not going to be affecting our goal here, and that is to instantiate a bullet. Okay, so there's that bullet now. It has now instantiated. And what we just need to do here, I'm just going to go to the project settings. I'm just going to delete this first because I was testing some things here. And if you try to look at show built-in function, UI accept is actually pertaining to the buttons enter, space, and KP enter. I'm just not sure what that is. So just to practice what we have so far learned already, I want to create a new action and I'm going to call it UI uh, UI underscore shuriken. Okay. And I'm going to add that. And I'm just going to add mouse button, which is the left mouse button. And that's the one that I'm going to use, UI underscore shuriken, instead of this one, just to make it much more clear for me. UI shuriken. So now we have a shuriken fire function. We're calling that function inside of the function process delta. And if input is action is just press, we should print shooting shuriken in our output and shuriken fire will now be executed. If we try to go and look it up, and if I press on the left mouse button, we can still jump. I'm using the space bar, and I can instantiate a number of bullets now. Okay, so that's working. And what if we don't use this process data, delta? That's another option. I think this will still work, even if we put this inside of the process, physics process. And let's just try that out. And but I'll be reading more about the difference between the two. You would see it's still working. I'm pressing on the left mouse button and shooting shuriken is currently working. But for now, I want that process delta there, and I don't want it to be in here. So most of the movements are here, right? Jump, we have the direction, the movement, and we want to just separate the firing bullets. Firing bullets. Or shurikens. Shuriken. I'm going to use shuriken in this case. And there are two functions that we can use here. Will this still work if we change the order? We know that each line of code is going to be read by the compiler based on how we order them. So is this going to be a problem if we try to go and test that out? And no. And I think we're still good. We're still able to instantiate. And we now have firing shuriken here. So I think we can use something similar with C sharp. I found out about this when I was working on C sharp. We can actually have a region. So now we can go and functions can be minimized and we can also minimize region according to their just parent shuriken region. Okay. That will be now if I go and hide that, we'll have those two functions and there they can be hidden inside of this region. And that's now working. Okay, so let me just go and go to Shuriken. I think we'll have to. go ahead and create a script in here. Let's right click, attach a script, shuriken.gd. Should we have it in the scenes? Do you have a script folder already? Let's see. Script folder. Okay, we do have a script folder. So let's just go put it in the script file. To scripts. Script shuriken.gd. Should we have it password keys? What did we use? Player, enemy, main menu. I think it's better that we just keep it small case. Okay, so we now have extends character body. Let's try to declare a velocity and let's have vector 2, 1, 0. Declaration for the speed. And let's call the distance process. Will this create some sort of okay, so it doesn't automatically create that for us. Then let's go close the code block. Hmm. We want to do is to have a collision and use the move and slide function. Or I think it should be move and collide. And we use the velocity, access the normalized function, and we multiply that with delta multiplied by speed. There's hmm, so speed, uh, nothing to value, using this. Okay, I'm just going to test things out here. So delta is a parameter for passing in our physics process. Was actually encountering some error here, so I'm just going to explore some things here. And this is not going to work because you'll see that's not working because I made a mistake with this one, physics process. It has to be precise. So I think we have physics process with S here. And now if I try to play this, this should work. And now we have a bullet firing. All right, so that's nice. You can see that it's firing, but it's not. At least we're seeing some progress in what we're trying to do here. And I think I should just go and use this level 1 scene, and then that's where that should comes in handy. Okay, so now we have to figure out how we can go and try to make the bullet go away and kill an enemy as we try to fire our bullets. What if we? Oh no! So one direction only. So we can see if we try to change this 0 and we go 1, what would happen if we try to fire? And let me just go and use this again. Level 1, open up. And now we can fire. So, and it's firing uh, vertically instead of horizontally, right? So those are the two options. We have a velocity with a vector. What if we use 0, 0? What are we going to get? Vector 2 from vector 2, 0, 0. What's going to happen? And I think that's still the same thing. If it's 0, 0, it's like So our option here is 10. What's this? It's not working. I think that's because it's only playing the shuriken scene. Okay, so I think this is the best option that we have. But for now, I think I'll stop from here and we can just explore how we can try to fire with the use of the mouse button position as we try to explore the. Thank you, everyone.